You know that moment when someone walks up to you with a smile, clearly expecting recognition, and your mind just goes blank. You remember the conversation. You remember where you met them. Sometimes you even remember what they were wearing that day. But their name, it's gone. And in that split second, there's this quiet panic. You try to buy time. You hope they won't notice. And afterward, there's that lingering feeling, like you've failed at something simple that everyone else seems to manage effortlessly. Most people see this as carelessness. Or worse, as a sign that you don't value others enough to remember them. It gets labeled as forgetfulness, lack of attention, even disrespect. But that interpretation misses something important. Because when you look closer, this pattern isn't random at all. People who struggle to remember names aren't necessarily inattentive. In fact, many of them are paying attention, just to different things. There's more going on here than people realize. From a psychological and neurological perspective, remembering names is actually a very specific type of memory task. It relies heavily on what's called arbitrary association. A name doesn't tell you anything about a person. It's not visual, not emotional, not contextual. It's just a label. Your brain has to take that label and attach it to a face, often within seconds. Research in cognitive science shows that our brains are far better at remembering meaning than they are at remembering arbitrary data. Faces, emotions, tone of voice, energy in the room. These are rich with information. Names, on the other hand, are thin. They don't give your brain much to hold on to. So if your attention naturally leans toward understanding people rather than labeling them, your brain may prioritize the emotional and social cues and quietly drop the name. It's not that you weren't paying attention. It's that you were paying attention differently. And that difference often has roots much deeper than people expect. If you grew up in environments where reading people mattered, where tone, mood, or subtle shifts in behavior were important, your brain learned to scan for those signals first. It became efficient at picking up emotional context, at understanding intentions, at noticing what isn't being said. Names don't carry that kind of information, so your nervous system doesn't treat them as urgent. Over time, this becomes a pattern, not a conscious choice, but an adaptation. Your mind learns what helps you navigate the world, and it quietly filters out what doesn't feel immediately relevant. That doesn't make it better or worse than someone who remembers every name instantly. It just means your brain is optimized for a different kind of awareness. And there's a quiet trade-off here. People who forget names easily often remember something else with surprising clarity. They remember how someone made them feel. They notice shifts in energy that others miss. They pick up on discomfort, warmth, distance, sometimes without realizing it. But the cost is subtle. In a world that values labels and quick recall, this kind of awareness isn't always recognized. So it can feel like a flaw, even when it's actually a different kind of sensitivity. And once you start seeing it this way, something shifts. That moment of blankness isn't proof that you don't care. If anything, it might mean your mind was busy absorbing something deeper. You're not broken for forgetting names. You're responding to people in a way that prioritizes meaning over labels. And for some people, that's exactly what makes them feel understood, even if they never realize why. If this feels familiar, there's probably more to the way your mind works that hasn't been explained properly yet.